Okay, I think we're, ready to get started. Thank you, Meg. So welcome, everyone. This is our introduction to the Student Loan Repayment Assistance Program for Early Childhood Educators. We're very happy to welcome you all here tonight. My name is Heather Martin. I'm the director of the Student Loan Repayment Assistance Program. And here with me today, I have our executive director, Janet McLaughlin, our program coordinator for the Loan Repayment Assistance Program, Meg Atwood, our student loan lawyer who's been consulting with the development of this program, and one of our Northern Lights resource advisors, Rose Morrison. We're very excited to welcome them here today, and they're going to go through and help us explain the loan program. So we do have a lot to get through today. This is our agenda for the night. It is packed with information, but we do feel like we can get through it all. We're going to dive right into material, take a tour of the application in a little while. We are recording everything tonight, so it can be watched after it's posted on our website and used as a resource if that's helpful for you. If you miss a section, it's not a big deal. It will be there. We are going to get to our Q&A towards the end of the webinar, so we'll be answering questions. Down on the bottom of your screen, on the little toolbar down there is a Q&A section. So as we go through material, you can be putting questions in there, and then we will get to them at the end of the webinar in the last few minutes. And then when you do log out of the webinar, there will be a survey at the end for you to fill out. In a few minutes, we're going to launch some poll questions, but first I'm going to introduce our executive director, Janet McLaughlin, and she's going to talk a bit about Vermont AEYC. So go ahead, Janet.
Yes, thank you, Heather, and welcome everyone. Thanks so much for taking some time out of your evening to learn about this program. Vermont AEYC is really excited to be able to offer this program on behalf of the state. Vermont AEYC is Vermont's affiliate of the National Association for the Education of Young Children, and we are the largest professional membership organization for early childhood educators in the state, and nationwide. NACE is, the professional home for early childhood educators. So we're glad you're here, and we're excited about this program, which we think really will connect and benefit those of you who have put in the time and energy and resources into getting a degree in an early childhood education specific field and are continuing to apply that. We're really delighted to be able to support you with this program. Vermont AEYC really sees our mission as advancing equity and excellence in early childhood education with early childhood educators as our foundation. So hopefully you can see that this program is a perfect fit for our organization. We really see our role as helping build that diverse, dynamic, well-prepared, and well-compensated early childhood education workforce that we know that the state needs and that obviously our young children need. And just wanted to put this program in context. This is one of many programs that Vermont AEYC offers. We also do higher education grants and scholarships, and that's through the Teach Early Childhood Scholarship Program, running the Registered Apprenticeship Program, and also managing the Professional Development Grants and Bonuses on behalf of the state. We also, in terms of workforce development and advocacy, we're also lately advancing ECE's or Recognized Profession Initiative, and hopefully many of you have engaged with that initiative as well. And of course, there's our annual Early Childhood Education Conference that happens each fall, and we will be back in person next fall. We'll be in Burlington, and we're really excited about that and hope to see many of you there as well. So just wanted to put this program in a little bit of context, and I will turn it back over to the Student Loan Repayment Assistance Program for Early Childhood Educators team.
Thank you so much, Janet. We are just going to take a few minutes to launch a few poll questions, kind of get to know everybody that's in attendance in order to guide the rest of the presentation. So I'm going to launch those for you now. It'll take a minute to answer them. Perfect. Thank you so much for taking that time to answer those. We definitely have a variety of people in attendance tonight. We really wanted to kind of see, help us understand kind of what your degree might be in. So that was the first question. We're going to learn some additional information about Bright Futures Information System in Northern Lights. So I'm so happy to see that all of you have your degree in there. We will talk about how to confirm that later on. We do have a variety of people. Welcome to all of the early childhood workforce tonight. And that last question, I'm hopeful that this program is able to help that decision because a lot of you answered yes there. I'm going to switch back over to sharing a presentation so we can get started about the details of the program. So Heather, go ahead and take it away.
Okay, so just a quick overview of this program. This actually was established in state statute in Act 45, and that passed in May of 2021. And we're very excited to be launching it in May of 2022. So awards are given on a first come, first serve basis, and they are limited to available grant funds, but we are launching with $2.3 million available through June 2023. So we're very excited that this is a sizable program that should be able to help quite a few early childhood educators. So what does it actually do? It can provide up to $4,000 in financial assistance to those that have earned their associate's or bachelor's degree in early childhood specific fields within the last 5 years. So we're talking about since January 1st, 2017, currently for this program. Participants do have to commit to working in a Vermont regulated center-based or family child care home program for 12 months after their award date. And there'll be more on how we track that later. But that's really it in a nutshell. It's really to help defray the cost of your student loan payments or to help reduce your monthly loan debt. So it's and or both. We're hoping that it's able to provide assistance in both of those ways. So this is a screenshot of our website with the web address up at the top. This really is the best source of information for the loan repayment assistance program. The link to apply is over here on the left of the page, the apply today button. And then over in the right-hand margin, there's additional program information, program guidance, the FAQ. There's a glossary of some terms that we think will be helpful. And you can also get to the recordings of the webinars if you need that resource. There's this one from today will be on there. And then we also hosted one last week that just was more broadly about navigating your student loans, which really could help anyone that had student loan debt, even if they don't qualify for this program. So both of those will be accessible if you click there. Go ahead to the next slide. So this is just like a snapshot of our program guidance document. I just wanted to call attention to that. So this is also accessible on that page. This is handy if you need more detailed information about the program. This and the FAQ both have just a wealth of information, details on how to apply, required documents, information about your student loan statements, qualifying student loans, award determination, all kinds of information that you might want to know. Our website will always have the most up-to-date information. So as we go, because this is a new program, we are anticipating that there'll be updates along the way. This program guidance document does have down in the footer the date of the last update that we have. So you always want to check that and make sure you have the most updated version. You can also get program updates if you sign up for the Vermont AUIC newsletter or like us on Facebook, then you'll automatically see pretty much if we have updates on this program. So we just want to make sure that word gets out and people are informed and understand the eligibility criteria for the program. Okay, next slide. And the next slide, Meg is going to go over our eligibility requirements. So take it away, Meg.
Thank you. I just wanted to share a little bit more detail. We gave that overview of the program, but here are some specifics as terms into what makes you eligible. So first, participants must work in a privately operated, either center-based childcare program or a family childcare program. For an average of 30 hours per week for 48 weeks a year. So this does mean that you can work at more than one childcare program to add up to that 30 hours. So if you have part-time hours at one place, you can work at a second place. With that being said, that also means that your annual salary should be $50,000 or less. That is the total of the childcare programs that you work for. However, that does not include if you have a side job, that income does not count towards that $50,000, as well as if you have any like household income, that does not count towards that salary cap. Additionally, participants must earn a recent associate's or bachelor's degree with one of the approved concentrations, which include early childhood, child and human development, elementary education, special education with a birth to 8 focus, or child and family services. Participants may also not simultaneously participate in the Teach Early Childhood program or the new VSAC scholarship program. One of the requirements is having accrued student debt, and that we ask that you provide documentation to show that you have that student loan debt. We're going to review later on kind of what documentation that is and the different types of student loans you may have. The last eligibility requirement is participants must intend to work in either center-based childcare program or family childcare home for at least the next 12 months. So along this process, you're going to communicate with us that you're still working in your childcare program by submitting what's called quarterly reports. And we will review those requirements later on, what that documentation looks like. So this next 2 parts of this presentation is all about the steps you're going to take before you actually go to the online portal and start applying. So I'm going to take a moment to introduce our next guest speaker. Joshua Cohen is a lawyer that is specialized in navigating student loan debt. So he's going to take some time to review the different types of student loans and where to get your statements. Take it away, Josh.
Thank you, Meg. Okay, so when we talk about student loans, there are particular loans that will work, particular loans that won't. Many of these are common, you're aware of them. There's a federal Stafford loan, Perkins loan, or consolidation loans. If they are for the particular degree that makes you eligible, then those loans are also qualified. VSAC also offers private loans, and then there are other private loans and other federal loans. All of those can qualify. And then if you refinanced your loan, whether it's through a federal consolidation or a private student loan refinance, if it's for the degree that qualifies you for the program, then that loan will work. Loans that don't qualify, however, will include federal Parent Plus loans, which is a loan technically for your child's education, or a Graduate Plus loan, which means it's for a graduate level degree, and no graduate level degree qualifies for this program. So any plus loan won't qualify. If you have a personal line of credit that you use to pay for school, that won't work. If you did a debt consolidation where you put your student loans and your credit cards and maybe a bunch of stuff together, that loan won't qualify. It's got to be a uniquely only student loan refinance product. Mixed use won't work. So that's it for the actual loans. Then what I want to talk about is the income-driven repayment plans versus standard plans. The Department of Education gives you 9 different plans to choose from because it's good to have choices, right? So the payment plan that you choose is going to be irrelevant, but depending on which payment plan you choose, may or may not allow you to receive extra payment to help pay down. If you're in an income-driven repayment plan, that plan usually won't pay off your loan. It will come with forgiveness. So there's no reason to pay extra money above and beyond whatever your minimum income driven repayment plan is. If, however, you're on one of the standard plans or perhaps the 25-year fixed plan, if your goal and your finances will pay off your loan, then through the program, which Heather will point out later, I believe, you can request extra. If you have a private loan, well, then you do need to pay it in full because they don't have forgiveness plans. And that is, again, one where requesting extra funds above and beyond your minimum will be available to you. Meg, if we can go to the next slide, please. So if you want to learn about your federal student loans, go to studentaid.gov. That is the Department of Education's website, and there you can log in and see your federal student loan information. And this page that you see in front of you is a sample of the dashboard. When you first go in, the blue circle shows all of your loans. The green is any grants. I'd love to be this person with a $0 balance, but then we wouldn't need this program. This is where you're going to find out all of the information of your federal loans. No private loan appears here. Only federal loans appear here. Now, this is going to be useful because you may need documentation to show that your loan was for a particular degree. If you click right in the middle of the screen, you see where it says view details. That's a hyperlink. If you click on that in your own screen, it will come up to another one that shows you details. And right above where that is, you'll see a new link that says download my data. If you download that, first you'll experience being in the matrix. It is an unformatted data dump, but more importantly, it links and shows you which loans were for which school. And that screen is useful to help us determine which loans are going to work. Now, if you've consolidated them all together, we can still connect the dots, and that's fine. You're still going to want to go to your servicer where you can get your bills and your statements, and we can see what your minimum payments are. But this is a great place just to find all of the history of your federal student loans. For private loans, you can talk to your servicer or a lender to get bills and statements. You can also take a look at your credit report. That's a great place to find the information for it. That in a nutshell is the student loan information. Heather, is there anything else that I've missed or you'd like me to elaborate on?
No, I think that was good, Josh. Thank you.
Okay.
And
Thank you, Josh.
Go ahead, Meg.
So next, we're going to review one of the other steps that you need for applying, which is confirming your degree information. So I'd like to introduce Rose Morrison from Northern Lights at CCV, who's going to talk about what that process looks like. Welcome, Rose.
Thank you. So Northern Lights at CCV is the hub for professional development systems for early childhood and after-school professionals. One of our roles is to receive transcripts from the field and enter them into the BFIS quality credentialing accounts. Next slide. For folks should log into their BFIS quality credentialing accounts and double check that their transcripts have been added. You can check your education tab and your documents tab. If you can't remember your login, that's when you'll need to actually contact BFIS's help desk to have that. And you can contact your resource advisor or Northern Lights if you need support getting that phone number or contact with the BFIS. Next slide. So here is how to submit your degree information into Northern Lights. If you have a transcript to submit, first, look at the Make Your Training Count page on the Northern Lights website. And we have also a handout of official and unofficial transcripts because we need to have the right documentation to be able to enter into your account. You will fill out a verification cover sheet, and you can see that there's a sample of one here on the slide. Once you fill that verification cover sheet, you're going to mail that in to Northern Lights, email or mail, with your transcript. Be sure to name VTAEYC, Vermont AEYC, in the subject line when you're sending in your transcript. because we receive about 1,000 emails per month. And this will allow for staffing to be able to pull those emails out, bump them to the top so these can get processed ASAP. Any questions or needs of any support, you can contact your resource advisor at Northern Lights, and I can put that contact information in the chat if you'd like.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Rose. And we're going to do the Q&A at the end too. So if anyone has any questions, either for Josh or Rose, certainly feel free to put those in as well. So yeah, now we've gone over what to look for in your student loans. We've gone through how to make sure your BFIS documentation is in there. So now we're going to go ahead and take a peek at what happens when you do click on apply here and what the portal looks like. And I'll do a walkthrough of the actual portal itself. You can go ahead to the next slide, Meg. So when you do click on apply here, it's going to bring you to our profile page, profile homepage. So you want to create a profile to get yourself in the system. You do need to create an account. After you create the profile, go ahead to the next slide. Then you will see the application homepage. This is going to have, this really is the homepage for everything for you, from pre-screening all the way through you're fully enrolled in the program and you're managing your quarterly reports. So you definitely want to make sure that you have this link probably bookmarked on your computer. So it's going to take you through pre-screening, eligibility, your loan information, summarizing your loans, award determination, employer verification for those of you that are employed in programs. It's a little different if you're self-employed. And then application certification, just certifying that you understand the terms of the program and going from there. So we're going to stop the share here, and I'm actually going to take you into the portal. So I will screen share in just a second. Hang on. Okay, everybody see this? This is the application homepage that we just had the picture of. So if I scroll down, you can see all of the sections here. I've pre-populated this. We have a fake account. So we're going to go through and look at a fake sample account here. Before I do that, I just want to call attention to, we made sure to have instructions up at the top of the page of every single section as you go through. And we really tried to design the application to walk you through every step of the way. If you ever do get confused, you can always email us at studentloanrepayment@vermontaayc.org. But definitely, make sure that you read the instructions, and that should help get you what you need to get through the portal. So the first thing that you need to do is go into the first section. My computer, okay. So pre-screening, this really is checking to see if it looks like you might be eligible for the program. So we go through here. If all of your questions are a yes, then you'll get the message here that you are eligible to apply for the Student Loan Repayment Assistance Program. The rest of the application below here is going to open up. If by chance one of the questions here is a no, you will get a notice that you don't qualify at this time. However, you do have the ability to check yes here if you would like us to email you directly if there's ever any changes to the eligibility criteria. So if you do that, it does give us a nice, easy way to check, where you may have not been eligible, and then email you if there's ever a change to that. So for our purposes today, we are going to say this person is eligible. They've met all the criteria above. I've pre-populated in some information here. So we have a graduation date, fake BFIS. For right now, you can check if your information does show in your BFIS account. If it does not, you want to check here that you've already submitted it. We're hoping that everyone would submit their information before applying, but if it's in progress and it's not showing up yet, It's very helpful if you can let us know the date that you submitted it, and then if you mailed it or if you emailed it. The other thing that everybody should do, whether your information is in BFIS or if it's not showing yet, please make sure you check yes to give us permission to coordinate with the folks at Northern Lights, and that's going to help get things processed much more efficiently for you. If you do happen to have 2 college degrees that might qualify for the program, like maybe you have an associate's and a bachelor's, you certainly can click yes here and add the second college degree. If you have an unrelated college degree, though, maybe one that qualifies and one that doesn't, you don't have to go through and enter the information for the unrelated college degree. So after you take care of that, your BFIS information is all set. Then we get down to employment information. So for here, I've selected that this is Sally Sample. This is our fake person. She works at a licensed center-based program. She is not the owner, so she's got some fake information in here. She's entered her average hours that she works per week, an hourly wage. And then once you enter your how many weeks per year you're employed, this is going to calculate your annual salary for you. So that's kind of a handy tool to help estimate your salary. If you do happen to be the owner of a program, whether you are family childcare home, or if you have a for-profit center and you are the owner, then you would want to click yes here that you're the owner of the program. Again, have your program information, and then this is where you're going to verify your information. So you would enter your annual income from your tax return from your previous year, and then share a copy of your Schedule C profit and loss from your previous year's tax return. If you have a new program that just opened this year and you don't have a previous year's tax return that would reflect this, there are questions below here that will help you outline like an income projection for the year. We really wanted people with new programs to be able to qualify for this program as well. So I'm going to go back up and switch this to no again. So she's not the owner of the program. And then we're going to save our changes and close. Okay, so now we are back on this home page. The next section is for individual loan information. So when people are in school, they usually do have different loans that come up per each semester. So there probably will be multiple loans that you actually used to fund your college degree. So if your loans are all still separated out into individual loans, you do need to enter them all in individually here. So you need to click new item and then enter them one by one. If you have consolidated all of the loans for your degree into one loan, then it is possible that you might only have one larger loan to put here. So for today, I've done 2 sample loans. We've got one I'm going to open up here. This one has a $6,000 balance, $60 a month payment. It's a federal loan, and she does have this one on an income-driven repayment plan. So that's all you have to do here. This is also where you would upload your copy of your loan statement from your lender, just verifying this information. So we're going to back out and now look at the other individual loan. So this particular loan, we've got an $8,000 balance, an $80 a month payment. And we're going to say this is a private loan that she took out. Private loans do not have income-driven repayment. So this is not on an income-driven repayment plan. And again, you would upload your documentation here. So you just want to make sure that each individual loan has its appropriate corresponding documentation. So that is all in there. We're done with individual loans. Now we're going to go through and actually determine our award loan summary and award determination. So this is a shorter section, but it is important to understand some nuance here. So right up at the top, you want to enter your total monthly payment for all of your loans combined. So if you have multiple loans, income-driven repayment, private loans, whatever they are, you want to enter that all here. So her loans were $80 a month plus 60, so we've got 140. I'm going to show you what happens if they were all on income-driven repayment. If that was the case, this totals what her annual expected payments would be at $1,680. And if they were, everything was income-driven repayment, her request would need to be $1,680. Because again, there's all kinds of complications with trying to pay ahead income-driven repayment loans. And actually our webinar last week detailed quite a bit of information related to that. However, we're going to switch this to a no, because she did have one loan that was not income-driven repayment. So here, this is still the same estimate. She's still going to have the same monthly payments. These are the estimated additional funds that she could request. And then this is the maximum award. So this program can award up to $4,000. So we can't ever go over that. So it's important to note here that these payments are going to come in quarterly installments. So you get basically a payment every 3 months once you're enrolled. So she's going to have part of her payment go towards covering and reimbursing her for paying her student loans. And then there's going to be a little bit of extra. And that extra piece needs to go to the private lender to help reduce her loan debt. So this really is for reimbursing you for payments that you've made and or trying to help send some extra to your lender for your non-income driven repayment loans. So then you would put your request in here to confirm how much you want to request. So in this particular case, this person would request the $4,000, mark that complete. So that section is now done. So Sally here is not self-employed, so she does have to do an employer verification request. In order to do that, you click new request here. You enter in your name, you stick a note in here to your employer, and then you would click send, and that's going to send an email directly to your employer. So you don't have to send any additional emails. You actually do it straight from the portal. And then once you close out of here, after you've done this, you'll get a little notification bar, and that's going to actually tell you if your employer has completed this process or not. So you can either ask your employer if you want to check the next day to see if that was done, or you can log back into the portal at any time to see if this step was completed. So if you are not self-employed, that step does have to be completed before you click submit on your application. And then the last piece we need to go over is just the certification. All of these statements here are really important to understand just as you enroll in the program. So it's important to read through here. And again, send us an email if you have any questions on anything in the application. So after you've completed all of these steps, this grayed out submit button is going to turn green. You're going to submit there. So then after that, you will receive an email that says that we've received your application. You want to make sure that you are kind of keeping tabs on your email, even checking your spam folder. If, as we're processing your application, if we need more information or we need, think a change needs to be made, we will send you an email that details what needs to happen. If that's the case, just read the instructions in the email, log back into the portal. We're going to try to indicate here for you the section that needs the attention, change whatever needs to be changed, and then click submit again. And that's going to indicate to us you've done the change. We can go ahead and finish processing your application. And then after you are awarded, so we're going to say that this person goes through, she passes the process, she receives an award, you will receive an award letter. And Meg is going to kind of detail that in a minute. But I wanted to point out that you're going to use the same page for accepting your award letter, turning in quarterly reports. This really is the page that you're going to use for managing everything. So now I am going to stop sharing and hop back out of this application. Okay, and then here, we also just created a little flow chart, again, to help understand the nuance between income-driven repayment and not. And really, it comes down to, if all your loans are on income-driven repayment, there or you can request up to $4,000 to help reduce your loan debt. The caveat with that is, if you have, say you have a private loan, all you have is a private loan and your balance is $2,000, you cannot request $4,000 if you've only got a $2,000 balance. You can then request up to $2,000. So I do want to point that out. I think that would be exceedingly rare. I would be surprised if someone did have a small loan like that, but it could happen. So I just wanted to point that out, that as long as your loans exceed $4,000, yes, you can certainly request up to that much. So I hope that explains that piece. And now I'm going to pass it back over to Meg.
Thank you, Heather. So at this point, you've submitted your application. We have up to 35 days to review your application. So for the next part of this presentation, congratulations, you've gotten an award, but you do have some next steps to complete. The first step in the process to accepting your award is reading through your award summary. So this award summary is going to show you kind of what Heather just showed. It's going to review what your monthly payments are, your totally monthly payments, if you are receiving any additional funds. It's also going to show you the date for your quarterly reports, and it's going to show your payment schedule. This is further outlined in the award letter. It'll come as a PDF document on that page that you can view and also save for your files. After you read through both that summary and the award letter, you're going to move on to step 2. We are actually going to, again, read through those award terms and check that you understand them. Understanding that there's quarterly reports due along the way, and understanding when your payments are going to be sent to you. So on that note, that quarterly report reminder is sent out about every 3 months. It's going to ask that you are still working in an early childhood program or the owner of an early childhood program. And then it also is a great opportunity to update any of your information. So if your contact information has changed, you're going to change it at that point. If you're working for a different employer, you're going to put their new contact information, or if your employer has changed any of their information, you'll put it there, as well if there's been any changes to your banking information. If you do need to update your profile or application at any point, you can reach out to us for assistance with that. If anything does change, please let us know if we can assist you in updating your application. But you will have the opportunity to do that every about 3 months, and this is one of the required pieces. If you fail to turn in 2 of these quarterly reports, you will get a notification that you're no longer enrolled in the program, and there will be some next steps if you want to apply again. So just stay in communication with us at that point, and we would be happy to help you along the way. Sorry, that's the slide. This chart helps outline when you should accept or see your award payments. So the way you read this chart is going from left to right. So for example, if you are one of the people that's either already applied or applies today or before June 1st, you're in that first white bar. You will receive your award notification at the latest by July 1st. We hope to let you know sooner, but at the latest it will be July 1st. That means that you will receive your payment by August 30th or before, and then you're going to keep going down that line to the right. So August, November, February, May. So when you're trying to figure out again when those payments are due, you read it left to right, but it also is outlined in your award letter. So you'll have that documentation to determine when those payments are coming and when your quarterly reports are due. And those are your next steps after you receive your award. So if you have questions, again, about eligibility, about how to apply for the program, we are here to help. You can reach out to us at studentloanrepayment@vtaeyc.org. And so we are going to take a moment to open up. I see a bunch of questions in the Q&A. If you want to take a few minutes to add any additional ones while we pull that up, and I'll start with the first one. So Heather, Sarah asked or says, I'm finishing my bachelor's degree. Soon my loan payments don't start right away. How soon can I apply for this program? And then she asked the contact information. So Sarah will share that again in the chat box, the contact information for this program.
Yeah, so I think there's a few things with this question, and it's a great question. So I'll start with this, and then I might actually let Josh step in to talk about the loan programs. I think, Josh, this might be a good opportunity to talk about payment pause too. So if you finished your bachelor's degree, you want to make sure that as soon as you have your transcript showing that you've completed your bachelor's degree, that you definitely get that in the Bright Futures information system as soon as you can, because that is one of the required pieces. So as long as that can happen. And then I'm actually going to let Josh answer the piece. You basically want to make sure that you can go through the application and you have the required documentation to go ahead and apply. Those are really the deciding factors as to when. And I'm going to let Josh go ahead and talk about payments and what payment plan you might be on when you graduate. If you can cover that too, Josh. Oh, you're muted, Josh.
I was trying my mime skills. Okay. This question actually comes up in a few of these. So thank you, Heather. So right now, there is what I'm calling a pandemic forbearance. It's based on the CARES Act that came out in April of 2020. It doesn't affect every federal loan. However, it does affect newer federal loans. And it specifically covers any loan held by the Department of Education. If you took out a federal loan after 2010, then it is directly from the Department of Education, and it's called a direct loan. Those loans, if you're in school right now or about to graduate or graduated recently for this program, you have direct loans and you are covered by the CARES Act. You have no payment right now, no interest accruing. Things are nice. Right now, that is supposed to end August 31st. My gut and experience is telling me we're going to see another continuation probably until January of 2023 after midterms. So be on the lookout for that. Because the program requires a bill statement and information about your minimum payment, you're not going to be able to apply until this pandemic forbearance ends. So I'm going to say January is when we'll start seeing what the bills are. As someone coming out of a program, you're not even on a payment plan. You're going to want to submit an income-driven repayment application. And being a new graduate, you should be eligible for a plan called New IBR. And you're welcome to contact me at thestudentloanlawyer.com if you have questions. But you're going to apply for that. They may send you what your payment's going to be if you apply before the end of the pandemic, but you're not going to get an official statement or bill until the pandemic forbearance ends. Again, I'm thinking January. So while you have that COVID forbearance, your payment is zero. There's nothing to really participate in with the program. So you won't be able to, I guess, you won't be able to complete the application. But again, when the pandemic forbearance ends, and we'll get notice of that, that's when you, if you're not on an income-driven repayment plan, you want to apply about a month or two ahead of time. You'll then get your statements, and then you'll be in perfect position to apply.
Yeah, so it's a complicated answer. So if you, yeah, so and for those folks that are not on income driven repayment, if you have loan statements from before the pandemic, you might be able to still apply. It gets tricky if you've graduated during the forbearance. Oh, Josh, can you put your email in?
I believe I can.
Okay, the next question, does an art education degree pre-K through grade 12 count? I would say for degree questions that Act 45, when it passed last year, spelled out the eligibility criteria that we have developed for our program policies. But any questions relating to degree interpretation, I would encourage you to send to Northern Lights as soon as you can, because they're going to work with us to help interpret all of the degree questions that we have. So we're partnering with them to make sure that this can happen for people.
Thank you, Heather. The next question is, Holly works both at Champlain Valley Head Start in collaboration. Holly, if you want to reach out to us through our email, I would like to, I think, a little bit more details about what you mean by collaboration. And maybe that could be my lack of knowledge with how that Head Start program is structured. So I'm not sure if you would fill out there is on that employment section, the place to put more than one employer. So if it is that you work both at if they're two separate programs, then put both of them. But if it's like a subcategory, like sub program of Head Start, I would put you're right, I would put the Head Start information, but we can talk further by reaching out to that email address and kind of getting a little bit more information.
And then the next question is a great question for Josh. Is there anything additional on that one?
So this is someone who has the COVID forbearance, the pandemic forbearance, the zero payments. The question really is, are you normally on an income-driven repayment plan, perhaps heading towards public service loan forgiveness? Or were you making a payment that would pay off the loan? If your goal was to pay off the loan, then I believe the program's going to want to see what your past statements were prior to the pandemic forbearance and use those. If you are on an income-driven repayment plan, then there's no reason to take payments right now. You're going to get public service loan forgiveness anyway. And by the way, if you're on the pandemic forbearance, you are still getting credit towards public service loan forgiveness or just the regular IDR forgiveness. So it really depends on what your payment goal was. If it's payoff, then yes, you should apply. If not, then no. So, all right. And Holly says that she was on repay before the pandemic forbearance. So it sounds like you'll be on that again. No reason to do anything with this program until the pandemic forbearance ends. Which just kind of merged both of those questions together. That next question is for Heather.
Yes. So yes, you can absolutely save and return this application. So by logging in, by clicking apply now, you are essentially creating an account that's gonna, you can come back to it anytime. You can go through, you can even go through the eligibility questions now if like you don't have your loan statements or there's some reason why you can't apply, and just indicate, you know, which of the eligibility criteria you don't quite meet yet, and then check yes so that we can be contacting you if there's a change to the eligibility criteria. And we're working with Josh too, so we'll be sending updates. We may even host additional webinars as news comes out about the pandemic forbearance. We definitely want to be sharing information. So that's one way that we can handle it. Another, you can always reach out through the email for more information about the program as well. So the important thing to know is, yes, you can start the application, you can save it, you can come back at any time, does not have to be done in one shot. You can start the application, not be eligible, And then when your statements come in later, or when you get your documentation, you can come back even if it's a couple months later, and then open it back up and, you know, adjust your criteria so that it's accurate, and then go ahead and finish the application. We wanted to make it user friendly, because we know that trying to keep track of what's going on with student loans is very much a moving target right now. So yes, the application is flexible that way, and definitely reach out if you have any other questions.
I did want to address, Holly, you put in the chat, so you were on Repay before so Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, because Holly's on the Repay, she wanted to put monthly payment, she would put in what it was before the forbearance.
Right, but again, because I'm seeing Repay, that's indicative that we're looking at a forgiveness plan. Most of these income-driven repayment plans don't even cover interest, which means you're going backwards. We don't care because there's forgiveness with it. So there's no reason to make any payments right now. There's no interest accruing. We're heading towards a forgiveness one way or the other. And there are other developments coming down because of an announcement from just 2 or 3 weeks ago. As soon as there's more clarity on that, probably July or August, I will certainly be funneling that through this program as well, because it will help everybody.
Thank you for clarifying that, Josh. Really quick before we wrap up, did anybody have any additional questions? We'll give that one last moment.
Okay, yes, yeah, Holly, I would encourage you to reach out to us. That is very understandable. So if you want to email us there, we can definitely have a follow-up conversation. Yeah, and so I hope that this webinar was informative for everyone to share. Oh, Meg, could you put the email in the chat again? Thank you. Yeah, so we just wanted to introduce the program, share the eligibility criteria, how to apply today. There's a few different things. Yes, the world of student loans is definitely a moving target. We tried to make sure that we've got technical assistance available and we're easily accessible for you. And the application is definitely something that you can start and come back to as it works for you. And certainly reach out if you have any other questions. And we will keep you informed. We're going to send updates through our e-newsletter. And if you like our Facebook page, we will send any like major program updates through that as well. So that's a good way to be informed. Or signing up for the direct email if you go into the portal. So I think that is it. I just want to thank everybody again, and just remind everybody to do the survey at the end. Okay, thank you all.